Effortless, written and published by Ngasline. Have you ever noticed that the moment you stop obsessing over something, it suddenly appears in your life? That dream job lands in your lap right after you stop refreshing job boards. Your phone rings with an exciting opportunity just when you've decided to take a break. That perfect relationship begins exactly when you've gotten comfortable being single. This isn't coincidence. It's a powerful life principle that happy, successful people have known for years. The art of effortless attraction. Forget what you've been told about hustling harder and chasing endlessly. The real secret is learning why forcing things actually pushes them away, and how to position yourself so opportunities, relationships, and success naturally flow to you. Get ready to discover why that project you're stressing over, that goal you're pursuing, or that dream you're chasing might be closer than you think. But only when you master the counterintuitive skill of letting go. It's time to stop exhausting yourself with endless seeking and start experiencing the magic of effortless achievement. Lesson 1. Seeking blocks natural flow. Have you ever noticed how the harder you chase something, the more it seems to slip away? This peculiar dynamic plays out in countless aspects of our lives, from pursuing relationships to chasing success, and even in our spiritual quests. The very act of seeking can become the biggest obstacle between us and our desires. Think of a time when you desperately wanted something. Perhaps a romantic connection, a job opportunity, or even inner peace. The more intensely you pursued it, the more elusive it became. This phenomenon isn't coincidental. It's a fundamental principle of how energy and attraction work in our universe. When we operate from a place of desperate seeking, we unconsciously create resistance that blocks the natural flow of life. The chase mentality stems from a deeply ingrained belief that we must make things happen through sheer force of will. Society has conditioned us to believe that success comes only through relentless pursuit, and that if we're not constantly striving, we're somehow falling behind. This mindset creates a perpetual state of tension, anxiety, and disconnection from the present moment. Consider how water flows in nature. It doesn't force its way through obstacles. Instead, it finds the path of least resistance, effortlessly flowing around barriers. Yet when we encounter obstacles in our lives, we often respond with force, pushing harder against resistance rather than flowing with it. This pushing creates an energetic wall that repels the very things we're trying to attract. The psychology behind this paradox is fascinating. When we're in a state of seeking, we're essentially broadcasting a message of lack to the universe. Our energy says, "I don't have this, and I need it desperately." This creates a vibrational frequency of absence rather than abundance, and like attracts like. The more we focus on what we lack, the more we experience that lack in our lives. Forced actions manifest in various ways. Sometimes it's the compulsive checking of our phone for messages from someone we're interested in. Other times it's the constant refreshing of our email inbox waiting for news about an opportunity. These behaviors seem innocuous, but they create a subtle energy of desperation that pushes away what we desire. The irony is that everything we seek is already moving toward us naturally, but our seeking behavior creates interference in this process. It's like trying to tune into a radio station while constantly adjusting the dial. We never allow the signal to come in clearly. When we stop the frantic seeking, we create space for what we desire to find us. Understanding this dynamic requires a fundamental shift in perspective. Instead of seeing ourselves as the ones who need to make everything happen, we can recognize that we are part of a larger flow of life that is always moving in our favor. This doesn't mean becoming passive or giving up on our dreams. Rather, it means learning to align with the natural flow instead of fighting against it. The first step in breaking free from the seeking mentality is becoming aware of when we're forcing things. Notice the tension in your body when you're in pursuit mode. Feel the anxiety and urgency that accompanies forced action. These physical sensations are valuable indicators that you're blocking rather than allowing. Learning to recognize and release this pattern takes practice and patience. It requires developing trust that life is working for us, not against us. When we stop interfering with our own natural good through excessive seeking, we allow the universe to bring us exactly what we need, often in ways far better than we could have planned. The art of living effortlessly begins with understanding how seeking blocks our natural flow. As we learn to release the chase mentality, we create space for life to surprise us with its abundance. The path forward isn't about trying harder. It's about trying less and trusting more. Lesson 2. Life unfolds in perfect ease. Have you ever noticed how a flower blooms? It doesn't strain or struggle. It simply opens in its own time, following an internal rhythm that's perfectly orchestrated by nature. This same principle applies to every aspect of our lives, though we often forget this fundamental truth in our rush to make things happen. Life has an inherent flow, a natural timing that operates whether we acknowledge it or not. When we align ourselves with this timing, we discover that everything unfolds with remarkable ease. This isn't about passive waiting or idle hoping. Rather, it's about developing a deep understanding of life's natural rhythm and learning to move in harmony with it. Divine timing is often misunderstood as something mysterious or beyond our comprehension. In reality, it's simply the perfect orchestration of events that occurs when we stop forcing outcomes and allow life to unfold naturally. Think of a surfer waiting for the perfect wave. They don't try to create the wave or force it to arrive sooner. They observe, feel the rhythm of the ocean, and know exactly when to take action. The power of patience reveals itself when we understand that everything in life has its season. Just as winter naturally transitions to spring, our desires and goals have their own seasonal timing. Rushing this process often leads to premature results or missed opportunities. True patience isn't about idle waiting. It's an active state of trust and awareness that allows us to remain present and responsive to life's natural flow. Understanding life's natural rhythm requires us to develop a different relationship with time. In our modern world, we've become accustomed to instant gratification and quick results. However, the most meaningful experiences and achievements often require a gestation period. Just as a seed needs time in the darkness of soil before it can sprout, our dreams and desires need time to take root and grow naturally. Aligning with universal flow means learning to read the subtle signs and signals that life constantly provides. It's about developing an intuitive sense of timing and trusting that sense even when external pressures suggest otherwise. This alignment doesn't mean we become passive observers of our lives. Rather, we become more effective co-creators by working with the natural current instead of against it. When we resist life's natural timing, we create unnecessary stress and struggle. Consider how many times you've pushed for something to happen, only to realize later that the timing wasn't right. In retrospect, delays and obstacles often reveal themselves as blessings, protecting us from premature action or preparing us for better opportunities. Living in alignment with life's natural ease requires us to release our attachment to specific timeframes and outcomes. This doesn't mean abandoning our goals or desires. Instead, it means holding them lightly while remaining open to how and when they manifest. Sometimes what we want comes in unexpected ways or at unexpected times, and being fluid in our expectations allows us to recognize and receive these gifts. The practice of aligning with life's natural rhythm also involves developing trust in the process. This trust grows as we observe how things often work out better than we could have planned when we allow them to unfold naturally. It's about recognizing that the universe has a broader perspective than our limited view, and that sometimes what appears as delay or detour is actually the most direct path to our desires. As you embrace this principle of natural unfolding, you'll begin to notice how life becomes more graceful and synchronistic. Opportunities appear at just the right moment, solutions emerge effortlessly, and what once seemed like obstacles transform into stepping stones. This is the power of allowing life to unfold in perfect ease, not through force or control, but through alignment with the natural flow of existence. Lesson 3. Chase nothing. Attract everything. There exists a fundamental principle in the universe that most people overlook. What you chase tends to run away, while what you embody naturally draws toward you. This magnetic principle operates in every aspect of our lives, from relationships to career opportunities, yet we often work against it by pursuing our desires with excessive force. The art of becoming magnetic lies in a complete paradigm shift from pursuing to attracting. When you shift your energy from chasing to becoming, you transform into a natural attractor for all you desire. This doesn't mean becoming passive. Rather, it means understanding the subtle difference between forced action and inspired movement. Think of yourself as a lighthouse rather than a hunter. The lighthouse doesn't move from its position to find ships. It simply shines its light, and vessels naturally navigate toward its beacon. This magnetic principle operates through your state of being rather than your actions. When you embody the qualities and energy of what you desire, you naturally draw those experiences toward you. For instance, if you wish to attract love, become love itself. Practice self-love, radiate compassion, and exist in a state of openness and warmth. The universe responds not to what you want, but to what you are. Creating space for desires to manifest is equally crucial in this process. Many people fill their lives with constant motion, leaving no room for their desires to enter. Imagine trying to pour fresh water into a glass that's already full. It's impossible. The same principle applies to manifestation. By creating physical, mental, and emotional space in your life, you allow new opportunities and experiences to flow naturally toward you. The magnetic principle also works through your energy field. Every thought, emotion, and belief you hold creates an energetic signature that either attracts or repels your desires. When you maintain a high vibration through positive expectations, gratitude, and joy, you naturally attract experiences that match this frequency. This isn't about forcing positive thoughts, but about genuinely cultivating an inner state that aligns with your desires. Inspired action differs significantly from forced action. While forced action comes from a place of lack and anxiety, inspired action flows naturally from your aligned state of being. It feels effortless, exciting, and often presents itself without conscious planning. These actions arise from intuition rather than desperation, and their results tend to be far more profound and lasting. The practice of becoming magnetic also involves releasing resistance. Often, we create barriers to our desires through doubt, fear, and limiting beliefs. By identifying and releasing these blocks, we allow our natural attractive power to operate unhindered. This might involve examining old patterns, healing past wounds, or simply choosing to trust in the universe's ability to deliver what's best for us. Attraction operates most powerfully in the present moment, when you're fully present and engaged with life as it is, rather than constantly reaching for what's next. You become naturally magnetic. This presence creates a powerful energy field that draws opportunities and experiences aligned with your highest good. Your role in this magnetic process is to maintain your center while remaining open to receiving. Like a powerful magnet, you don't need to chase metal objects. They naturally come to you because of what you are. By focusing on your own growth, maintaining your energy, and staying true to your authentic self, you create an irresistible force that naturally draws your desires toward you. This principle takes practice and patience to master, but once understood, it transforms every aspect of life into an effortless dance of attraction rather than a constant chase. The key lies in remembering that you don't need to pursue what's meant for you. Your role is simply to become the person who naturally attracts these experiences through their way of being. Lesson 4. Surrender opens magic doors. The concept of surrender often triggers resistance in our achievement-oriented society. We've been conditioned to believe that letting go means giving up, that surrender equals weakness. Yet, true surrender is perhaps the most powerful force we can harness in creating the life we desire. It's the magical doorway through which our deepest wishes enter our reality. Surrender operates on a profound paradox. By releasing our grip on what we want, we create the space for it to manifest. Think of holding water in your hands. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. But when you cup your hands gently, the water remains. This same principle applies to our desires, dreams, and goals. When we clutch them too tightly, we create resistance that prevents their natural flow into our lives. The art of surrender begins with understanding that we don't need to orchestrate every detail of our lives. The universe has an intelligence far beyond our limited perspective. When we surrender, we acknowledge that there might be better paths, timing, or outcomes than what we've envisioned. This doesn't mean we become passive observers of our lives. Rather, we become active participants who trust in the greater unfolding. Breaking through resistance requires us to first recognize where we're holding on too tightly. Perhaps it's in relationships where we're trying to control outcomes or change others. Maybe it's in our careers where we're forcing opportunities rather than allowing them to emerge naturally. Or it could be in our personal growth, where we're struggling against our current circumstances instead of accepting them as temporary teachers. Uncertainty is often what makes surrender challenging. We resist letting go because we fear the unknown. What might happen if we release control? Yet, it's precisely this uncertainty that holds the seeds of magic. When we surrender our need to know everything in advance, we open ourselves to possibilities we couldn't have imagined. The universe often has plans far more magnificent than our limited minds can conceive. Finding peace in uncertainty becomes easier when we understand that surrender is not about giving up our dreams, but about releasing our attachment to how they should manifest. It's about trusting that if something is meant for us, it will find its way. This trust allows us to relax into the present moment, where all potential exists. The practice of surrender requires patience and gentle persistence. It's not something that happens once and is complete. It's a continuous choosing to release control, to trust, to allow. Each time we notice ourselves gripping tightly to outcomes or struggling against what is, we have an opportunity to practice surrender anew. When we truly surrender, we often experience a profound sense of relief. The burden of trying to control everything lifts, and we find ourselves in a state of peaceful allowing. From this place, synchronicities begin to appear. Doors open unexpectedly, and what we've been seeking often finds its way to us with remarkable ease. Surrender becomes a form of spiritual alchemy, transforming our desperate seeking into graceful receiving. It shifts us from the exhausting stance of making things happen to the empowering position of allowing things to unfold. This shift doesn't just affect our external circumstances. It fundamentally changes our relationship with life itself. The magic of surrender lies in its ability to align us with the natural flow of life. When we stop resisting what is and release our rigid expectations of how things should be, we enter a state of grace where everything becomes possible. In this space of surrender, we discover that what we've been seeking has often been seeking us all along, waiting patiently for us to simply open our hands and receive. Lesson 5. Peace pulls dreams closer. Inner peace acts as a powerful magnet, drawing our deepest desires toward us with an invisible yet undeniable force. When we cultivate a sense of calm within ourselves, we create an energetic field that naturally attracts positive experiences, opportunities and relationships. This magnetic quality of peace operates on a fundamental principle, like attracts like. When we maintain a peaceful state of being, we align ourselves with similar frequencies of harmony and flow. Most people unknowingly repel their desires through anxiety and worry. Anxiety creates a scattered energy field that disrupts the natural flow of manifestation. When we worry about whether something will happen, how it will happen, or when it will arrive, we generate resistance that pushes away the very things we want to attract. Our anxious thoughts send out signals of lack and fear, which the universe mirrors back to us in our experiences. Creating a peaceful environment extends beyond our internal state to our physical surroundings. Our external space reflects and influences our inner world. A cluttered, chaotic environment makes it difficult to maintain inner tranquility. By consciously designing our living and working spaces to promote peace, we strengthen our capacity to attract our desires. This might involve decluttering, incorporating natural elements, or creating dedicated spaces for meditation and reflection. The true challenge lies in maintaining peace amid chaos. Life inevitably presents us with challenges, unexpected changes, and moments of uncertainty. The key is not to avoid these situations, but to develop the ability to remain centered, despite external circumstances. This inner stability becomes our anchor, allowing us to navigate turbulent waters while maintaining our magnetic, peaceful state. One powerful way to cultivate peace is through conscious breathing. Our breath serves as a bridge between our internal and external worlds. When we focus on slow, deep breathing, we automatically shift our nervous system into a state of calm. This simple practice can be done anywhere, at any time, making it an invaluable tool for maintaining peace in challenging moments. Peace also requires boundaries. Many people lose their sense of tranquility by taking on others' energy, problems, or responsibilities. Learning to set healthy boundaries protects our peaceful state and actually allows us to be more present and helpful to others from a place of stability rather than depletion. The practice of mindfulness supports our peaceful state by keeping us anchored in the present moment. When we fully inhabit the now, we release anxiety about the future and regret about the past. This present moment awareness creates a clear channel through which our desires can flow to us. Mindfulness helps us notice when we've slipped out of peace and gives us the awareness to consciously return to it. As we deepen our commitment to peace, we begin to notice subtle shifts in our external reality. Relationships become smoother, opportunities arise more naturally, and solutions appear with less effort. This isn't coincidence. It's the natural result of maintaining a peaceful vibration. Our inner state creates a resonant field that attracts similar experiences and circumstances. Peace pulls dreams closer because it aligns us with the natural state of the universe. At its core, the universe operates in perfect harmony. When we cultivate inner peace, we tune ourselves to this fundamental frequency. From this alignment, manifestation becomes effortless because we're no longer working against the natural flow. We're moving with it. Peace is not a destination, but a practice. Each moment offers a new opportunity to choose peace over anxiety, trust over worry, and calm over chaos. As we consistently make this choice, we strengthen our magnetic field of peace, pulling our dreams ever closer with the gentle yet irresistible force of tranquility. Lesson 6. Nature finds paths effortlessly. In the gentle flow of a river, we witness one of nature's most profound lessons in effortless achievement. Water doesn't struggle to reach its destination. It simply follows the path of least resistance, flowing around obstacles rather than trying to force its way through them. This natural wisdom surrounds us daily, yet we often overlook its profound teachings about how to move through life with grace and ease. Consider how a tree grows. It doesn't strain or stress about reaching toward the sky. Instead, it responds naturally to the sunlight, extending its branches in whatever direction provides the most nourishment. When faced with an obstacle, like a building or another tree, it doesn't fight against it. It simply grows in another direction, finding its own unique path to thrive. Nature's intelligence operates through an intricate web of relationships and connections, each element finding its perfect place without forced effort. Seeds don't struggle to become flowers. They simply respond to the right conditions of soil, water, and sunlight. Birds don't question their ability to build nests or navigate vast distances during migration. They act on innate wisdom that guides them effortlessly to their destination. This same natural intelligence resides within each of us. Our bodies heal without our conscious direction, our hearts beat without our instruction, and our lungs breathe whether we think about it or not. These processes happen effortlessly because they follow nature's inherent wisdom. When we align ourselves with this same wisdom in our conscious actions, we tap into a flow that makes achievement feel natural and unstrained. Weather patterns demonstrate another aspect of natural efficiency. Storms don't try to be storms. They simply form from the natural interaction of temperature, pressure, and moisture. They move along the path of least resistance, following atmospheric currents rather than forcing their way through them. This same principle applies to our own lives. When we stop forcing our way forward and instead learn to read and follow the natural currents of opportunity and timing, we find ourselves moving with remarkable efficiency toward our goals. The growth patterns in nature reveal that progress isn't always linear. A plant's roots spread in seemingly random directions, yet each turn and twist serves a purpose in finding nutrients and establishing stability. Similarly, what might appear as detours or delays in our own journey often serve as essential parts of our growth and development. Nature teaches us that the most efficient path isn't always the straight line we envision. Animals in their natural habitat demonstrate effortless adaptation. They don't resist seasonal changes or fight against their environment. They adjust their behaviors, locations, and even their physical characteristics to harmonize with their surroundings. This adaptability isn't the result of struggle, but of natural response to changing conditions. We can learn from this by becoming more fluid in our own responses to life's changing circumstances. Even in moments of apparent destruction, nature reveals its wisdom. Forest fires, while seemingly devastating, actually clear the way for new growth and maintain the health of the ecosystem. This teaches us that what appears as loss or setback might actually be creating space for new opportunities and growth in our lives. By observing and embracing these natural patterns, we can learn to move through life with greater ease and effectiveness. Rather than forcing our way forward, we can learn to read the signs around us, follow the path of least resistance, and trust in the natural unfolding of events. Just as a river eventually reaches the ocean, when we align with nature's wisdom, we find ourselves effortlessly arriving at our intended destination, having expended far less energy than if we had tried to force our way there. Nature demonstrates that true efficiency comes not from exerting maximum effort, but from finding the most harmonious way forward. When we learn to operate according to these natural principles, we discover that achievement doesn't require strain and struggle. Instead, it flows from our ability to align with the natural currents of life, responding to opportunities and challenges with the same effortless wisdom that guides all natural systems. Lesson 7. Letting go brings answers faster. There's a profound irony in the way we hold on to things we want, believing that our tight grip somehow ensures their manifestation. Yet, the universe operates in precisely the opposite way. When we learn to release our ironclad grip on desired outcomes, we create the space necessary for answers, solutions, and opportunities to flow naturally into our lives. The art of release isn't about abandoning our dreams or becoming passive observers of life. Instead, it's about understanding that our attachment to specific outcomes often creates the very resistance that prevents them from materializing. Think of holding sand in your palm. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. But when you hold your palm open and relaxed, the sand stays perfectly still. This principle applies to every aspect of our lives. Whether we're seeking answers to pressing questions, solutions to complex problems, or the manifestation of our deepest desires, attachment creates an energetic block that impedes their natural flow. When we're attached to outcomes, we operate from a place of fear and scarcity, unconsciously sending signals of doubt and anxiety into the universe. Non-attachment, on the other hand, opens up channels of possibility we might never have considered. When we release our rigid expectations about how things should unfold, we become receptive to unexpected opportunities and solutions that might actually serve us better than our original plans. This doesn't mean we become indifferent to outcomes. Rather, we remain passionate about our desires while staying open to how they might manifest. The practice of non-attachment also accelerates manifestation because it aligns us with the natural flow of universal energy. When we're not resisting what is or desperately clinging to what might be, we can move more freely through life's currents. This state of fluidity allows us to recognize and receive the answers and opportunities that are constantly presenting themselves. Consider how often the solution to a problem arrives precisely when we stop obsessing over it. That moment when we finally throw our hands up and say whatever will be as often the exact moment when clarity arrives. This isn't coincidental. It's a demonstration of how letting go creates space for answers to emerge. Practicing release requires trust and courage. It means acknowledging that our controlling nature, while well-intentioned, might actually be hindering our progress. It involves developing the wisdom to know when to act and when to step back, when to speak and when to remain silent, when to push forward and when to surrender. The beautiful paradox is that when we release our attachment to specific outcomes, we often achieve our desires more quickly and with greater ease than we ever could through forced action. This happens because we're no longer creating resistance through our desperate need for control. Instead, we're allowing the natural intelligence of the universe to work through us and for us. This principle of accelerated manifestation through surrender applies not just to material desires, but to emotional and spiritual growth as well. When we stop forcing ourselves to get over something or move on from a situation, authentic healing occurs naturally. When we release the need to understand everything immediately, deeper wisdom reveals itself in perfect timing. Letting go brings answers faster because it aligns us with the natural order of things. It places us in a state of receptivity where we can hear our intuition more clearly and recognize divine guidance more readily. In this space of surrender, we discover that what we've been seeking has often been right in front of us, waiting patiently for us to release our attachment to how it should appear. The practice of letting go is a daily commitment to trust in something greater than our limited perspective. It's an acknowledgement that perhaps the universe has better plans than we could imagine, and our role is simply to remain open and receptive to its wisdom. When we master this art of release, we find that not only do answers come faster, but they arrive in forms far more magnificent than we could have engineered through our own efforts. Lesson 8. Trust attracts better than effort. Trust is the invisible force that magnetizes our desires more powerfully than any amount of striving or effort. When we deeply trust in the unfolding of life, we create an energetic environment where manifestation occurs naturally and easily. This profound trust isn't blind faith or passive waiting. It's an active state of knowing that everything is working out perfectly, even when we can't see the complete picture. Many of us have been conditioned to believe that we must maintain constant control over our lives, micromanaging every detail to ensure success. This mindset creates tension and resistance, actually pushing away the very things we desire. Trust, on the other hand, opens up channels for unexpected opportunities and solutions to flow into our lives. It's like floating in water. The moment we trust and relax, we naturally rise to the surface. The moment we panic and struggle, we sink. Building unshakable faith requires practice and patience. It begins with recognizing the countless ways life has supported us in the past, even during challenging times. Every obstacle we've overcome, every synchronicity we've experienced, and every unexpected blessing we've received serves as evidence of a benevolent universe working in our favor. By acknowledging these past experiences, we strengthen our trust muscle and develop confidence in life's natural flow. The power of believing extends beyond mere positive thinking. When we truly believe in the inevitability of our desires manifesting, we emanate a different frequency. This genuine belief creates a magnetic field that attracts corresponding experiences and opportunities. It's similar to how a confident person naturally attracts different responses from others compared to someone riddled with self-doubt. Our deep-seated beliefs shape our reality more powerfully than our actions. Releasing control is perhaps the most challenging aspect of trust, yet it's also the most liberating. Control is an illusion that keeps us trapped in anxiety and fear. When we release our grip on specific outcomes, we open ourselves to possibilities beyond our limited imagination. This doesn't mean abandoning responsibility or becoming passive. Rather, it means taking inspired action while remaining detached from exactly how things must unfold. Trust creates miracles because it aligns us with the infinite intelligence that orchestrates the universe. Just as we trust our bodies to breathe, digest food, and heal wounds without our conscious intervention, we can trust life to bring us exactly what we need at the perfect time. This trust allows us to stay centered and peaceful, even when circumstances appear challenging or unclear. The practice of trust requires us to develop comfort with uncertainty. Instead of seeing uncertainty as something threatening, we can view it as a field of infinite possibilities. Every moment of uncertainty carries within it the potential for unexpected miracles and delightful surprises. When we trust deeply, we can even begin to welcome uncertainty as an adventure rather than something to fear. Our relationship with trust affects every area of our lives, from relationships and career to health and personal growth. When we trust, we communicate differently, make decisions more clearly, and maintain our peace regardless of external circumstances. This stable foundation of trust becomes a beacon that naturally draws opportunities, relationships, and experiences that align with our highest good. The most beautiful aspect of trust is that it creates a positive feedback loop. As we trust more, we experience more evidence of life working in our favor, which in turn deepens our trust. This virtuous cycle continues to expand, making life increasingly effortless and magical. We begin to witness how trust indeed attracts better than effort, as doors open with perfect timing and solutions appear seemingly out of nowhere. Trust becomes our superpower when we fully embrace it. It transforms our experience from one of struggle and strain to one of ease and flow. Through trust, we access a state of being where everything we truly need naturally finds its way to us, often in ways more wonderful than we could have planned ourselves. Lesson 9. Flow beats force every time. There's a fundamental truth that most of us learn the hard way. Whenever we try to force something to happen, we create resistance. It's like trying to push a river upstream, exhausting and ultimately futile. The alternative is to understand and harness the power of flow, that magical state where everything seems to happen with ease and perfect timing. Flow states aren't just for athletes or artists. They're available to all of us in every aspect of life. When we're in flow, we move through life with grace, dealing with challenges not through brute force, but through aligned action. Think about water. It doesn't fight the rocks in its path. It simply flows around them. Water exemplifies a perfect balance of persistence and adaptability, never forcing its way through obstacles, but inevitably reaching its destination. The cost of forcing outcomes is often higher than we realize. When we push against life's natural rhythm, we expend enormous amounts of energy, create stress, and ironically, often delay the very outcomes we're trying to achieve. Force creates tension, and tension blocks the very flow we need to succeed. It's like clenching a fist around sand. The tighter we grip, the more it slips through our fingers. Aligning with natural momentum means learning to read the signs and signals life presents us. It's about developing sensitivity to timing and circumstance. Sometimes, what appears to be an obstacle is actually life's way of redirecting us towards something better. When we force our way through such barriers, we might miss the alternative path that would have led to an even more favorable outcome. The key to accessing flow states lies in finding the sweet spot between action and allowance. It's not about becoming passive. Rather, it's about acting from a place of alignment rather than desperation. When we're in flow, we maintain clear intentions while remaining flexible about how they manifest. We stay alert to opportunities while trusting in perfect timing. Life has its own momentum, its own current, much like a river flowing to the sea. When we learn to ride this current rather than fight it, we discover that much of what we've been striving for comes naturally. This doesn't mean we don't take action. Rather, our actions become more effective because they're aligned with the natural flow of events. It's the difference between paddling downstream versus struggling upstream. Riding life's current requires developing new skills: intuition, timing, and the ability to read subtle signals. It means learning to distinguish between inspired action and forced action. Inspired action feels light, energizing, and natural, while forced action feels heavy, draining, and mechanical. As we become more attuned to these differences, we naturally gravitate toward choices that maintain our flow state. The practice of flowing, rather than forcing, also changes our relationship with time. Instead of trying to make things happen on our schedule, we learn to trust in divine timing. This trust allows us to remain peaceful, even when things aren't moving as quickly as we'd like. We understand that delay isn't denial. It's often preparation for something better. Flow states teach us that effort and ease aren't opposites. They're partners in a dance. When we're in flow, we can work hard without feeling strained. We can pursue goals without becoming attached to specific outcomes. We can move forward without pushing against life's natural currents. This is the art of effortless achievement, not the absence of aligned action, but the presence of aligned action. As we embrace flow over force, we discover that life has been trying to help us all along. The universe isn't our opponent, but our ally in creation. When we stop fighting and start flowing, we tap into a power far greater than our individual effort could ever produce. This is the paradox of effortless living. By releasing our grip on forcing outcomes, we often achieve our desires more quickly and easily than we ever imagined possible. Lesson 10. Life works when you allow it. The art of allowing is perhaps the most profound secret to living an effortless life. When we finally understand that life naturally wants to work in our favor, we can release the exhausting grip of control and sink into a state of peaceful allowing. This doesn't mean becoming passive or giving up on our dreams. Rather, it means creating the optimal conditions for life's magic to unfold naturally. Think of allowing as opening your hands instead of making fists. When your hands are open, they can both give and receive. When they're clenched, nothing can flow in or out. The same principle applies to life itself. When we hold too tightly to our desires, expectations, and plans, we create resistance that blocks the very things we're trying to achieve. But when we open ourselves to life's possibilities, we create space for unexpected miracles. Creating space for magic isn't about emptying your life of action or ambition. Instead, it's about approaching your goals and dreams with a light touch, maintaining flexibility in your expectations, and remaining open to possibilities you hadn't considered. Magic often appears in unexpected forms, and if we're too rigid in our vision of how things should unfold, we might miss the very opportunities we've been seeking. Living in perpetual flow becomes possible when we understand that resistance is optional. Most of our stress comes not from our circumstances, but from our resistance to them. When we fight against what is, we create inner turmoil that blocks our natural connection to life's flow. By accepting each moment as it comes, we maintain our energy and clarity, allowing us to respond effectively to life rather than react emotionally. The practice of allowing extends to our relationships as well. When we allow others to be as they are, without trying to change or control them, our connections become deeper and more authentic. This doesn't mean accepting harmful behavior, but rather releasing the need to make others conform to our expectations. In doing so, we create space for genuine connection and mutual growth. Maintaining effortless living requires regular practice and gentle awareness. Notice when you're slipping into control mode or forcing outcomes. These moments of awareness are opportunities to shift back into allowing. Take deep breaths, soften your grip on expectations, and trust that life is working in your favor, even when you can't see how. Allowing isn't passive. It's a dynamic state of receptivity combined with inspired action. When you're in alignment with life's flow, you'll know exactly when to act and when to wait. Your actions will feel natural and energizing rather than forced and fleeting. This is the sweet spot where effort becomes effortless. The art of allowing also involves trusting your inner guidance. Your intuition becomes clearer when you're not clouded by resistance and forcing. Pay attention to the subtle nudges, coincidences, and inspirations that arise when you're in a state of allowing. These are often life's way of guiding you toward your highest good. As you embrace the practice of allowing, you'll notice that life begins to feel more like a dance and less like a battle. Problems solve themselves more easily, opportunities appear more frequently, and relationships flow more smoothly. This isn't because life has changed. It's because you've aligned yourself with life's natural tendency to support and sustain you. The ultimate truth is that life works when we allow it to work. Our effort and struggle often create the very problems we're trying to solve. By stepping back, creating space, and trusting in life's inherent wisdom, we allow everything to fall into place naturally. This is the art of effortless living, not a passive surrender, but an active engagement with life from a place of trust, openness, and allowing.